So this is my review of the Smackdown episode which happened this week, and this week was a really great episode. Like 7 matches happened, and out of them, like 4 matches got "This is awesome" chants also. Like even there was a "Holy shit" chant in the Naya versus Tiffany match. It's just that they don't really know how to structure the show. The reason that there was 7 matches was because they don't really know where to like place a segment, or then where to place a match, where to do a certain type of backstage segment. I think since they have gone into 3 hours for Smackdown, they've just been trying to fill, the time space. And you can see that like the the Fraxium versus DIY match was really good, but you had, an idea when you saw the match that the reason that this match got so much time is because they do want to fill the time up. But even then, I think booking wise, this SmackDown was really good. Like, stories did progress, characters did progress. I think overall is that it does get a little bit tiring. Like it does get a little bit tiring and a little bit like monotonous, and also like because it's like you get like match. You kind of get the structure now, and you can see that they are putting the bare minimum effort into SmackDown, even though the bare minimum effort is fine, because in wrestling you don't need to put like 100% into something for it to be good. It's just that you kind of know that SmackDown is the B show now, especially with John not being there every week, and like his heel character also being like, if someone like wrote, heel, and like put into a software named John Cena, like that will be the heel character that John Cena currently has. Like just a typical heel in 200. Even then you don't have him every week, and then you have him in a feud against R Truth, which is good enough because it's happening on Saturday night's main event. And even if he was a face, he would have had a match with R Truth anyways, because of the childhood hero stuff. I think what would have made this feud even more interesting, that if R Truth actually, like, you could have shown storyline progress over weeks, that R Truth, who had this kind of like, funny side, that John Cena is my hero, like actually, like comes to terms with the fact that John Cena is a bad man, and you actually see him becoming like serious. Because in the interview that he had, you know, one or two serious lines that I'm gonna remind Cena who he is, even if I have to like beat that into him. And the match is gonna have shenanigans, and it's gonna be good also. And I think it's fine for Saturday night's main event. It's just that it's happening next week, and I don't think you're gonna have Cena on the SmackDown next week also, because you have so many limited dates. I think it's like what, 23, 24 dates left. I don't think he is gonna be champion, when he's gonna have his last match. Probably, let's see. And you also have dearth of like main event talent also. Like Cody is not there, you have a part-time champion in Cena. The thing is that they have tried to compensate that with giving the tag team division more time, by giving like essentially having the United States Championship be the top championship on the brand. But the thing is, you have the whole Solo Jacob storyline there also, so you can't really put like other main event stars in it, because then the storyline would get disrupted. But the show started with that only, that Solo came out, and Jeff Cobb's new name is JC Mateo. Like JC stands for Jeff Cobb, I guess, like kind of like JD McDonough, because Jordan Devlin. Like it doesn't suit him, but it's fine. Let's see. I hope that they gave him like his singlet, because in his current attire he just looks like a fat man. He just looks like that. And also, like, this promo showed that if you give Solo something to do other than being just like a one tone bloodline, rogue bloodline leader going against Roman Reigns, having no personality. He he does it so much better. Like, if people remember, like, there was a phase last year when Solo was actually like really damn funny on the mic, like him doing the I have tickets, and mocking Jey Uso with the you do the yee. Even here, he was like stealing Jacob Fatu's catchphrases, the Yara mean, and the all gas no brakes with it. And the way that he was mocking him, like, it was very funny. And even in the end, when he was like, tell me, Jacob, what you used to say to me before, like the I love you Solo thing, because Jacob said it in a very normal way, and you can see him like getting angrier with him repeating himself one after the another. Like, you really get that. Then LA Knight interrupted. He like hit JC with a chair and then ran away. It was an awkward ending, but it also shows, even after losing so much, like after WrestleMania, I don't think uh, LA Knight has won a lot. Like, maybe that tag match, but he lost to Drew because of the disqualification. He lost at WrestleMania. He lost he was the one who got pinned at Backlash. Even here, like later, after Solo won the triple threat, the Money in the Bank qualified triple threat, why couldn't they have Jimmy get pinned? Like, Jimmy, why do you need to protect Jimmy? Like, last time we saw him on TV, he got choked out by Gunther, and you had him pin Ray Phoenix. I think even WWE kind of gets now that Phoenix is not going to get over to the level that Penta has, even though I think people really expected the opposite to happen before they joined the company, that people expected that Phoenix would get over but Penta won't. But it's just that Penta has things with him that got him over so quick. He has the whole like cunty walk, he has the Cero Miedo. He is cool. Even the way he speaks English, it's so endearing. Ray Phoenix just has his catchphrase, which is him saying animo, and his entrance. He's good in the ring, but the WWE style kind of doesn't let him like really express himself to the extent where he can really get like over, and you can see that. Like, they've had him pinned twice in like a month. Like, he got pinned at WrestleMania against El Grande Americano. He got pinned here by Solo Sikoa, which you can say it was a distraction in the end. Even like the referee like missed a spot in the match where Phoenix was doing a roll up pin. Like, you had botches. Like, the Fraxium DIY match had a lot of botches, but it was a good match. And you can see they really trust Fraxium, because the 4 weeks that they have been on SmackDown, like, they have defeated like almost the whole SmackDown division apart from Motor City Machine Guns. They defeated Pretty Deadly. They have defeated Los Garzas. They defeated Street Profits last week. They defeated DIY here, and next week they're going to get a shot at the tag team championships. I don't think they'll win, because that's what you saw. Like, after the match, DIY attacked Fraxium, then Motor City Machine Guns came out for the save. I think they need to draft the teams, because the triple threat tag match which happened on the SmackDown after Mania, it kind of felt like it was the end of the the Street Profits, Motor City, and DIY saga, which had been like going on since like September last year. And I've been really been liking the SmackDown tag team divisions. They can use some more promo time, because they can get really over with that. But even the storylines that they have been doing with the SmackDown tag team division, they feel logical. They don't feel overbooked. You can say it is overbooked because it's multi-man, but it feels like they actually care about the tag team division. And but I do think they need to switch some teams up. Like, maybe send Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne on SmackDown. They brought them back on Raw. I think it was before Mania, and they lost to the New Day. And after that, they have just been gone. Because I just saw that Tyler Bate was on main event, so it's not like they got injured again. So you should like probably draft them on SmackDown, maybe like draft American made to SmackDown as well, including Americano and everyone, and like send like DIY there, maybe send Motor City also, because they kind of need tag teams, because New Day needs tag teams, and I think they're probably gonna want to like hurry the Phoenix and Penta like Lucha Brothers tag team, because what do you do with both of them? You are seeing that Phoenix is not getting that over, which they probably thought he will. They have also not booked him perfectly. But even then, like, what will you do with Penta now? He just lost his feud with Dominic, because of El Grande Americano, and I think it is probably leading to some match, probably at Night of Champions, or maybe they're gonna like extend it to the AAA NXT show. But I think they need to have them together, and maybe like put Phoenix on Raw. Probably like Penta and Phoenix maybe at Mania can beat the New Day for the tag team championships if they are champions till then, because they have been finding it hard to book them in their like first month as champions. And then also like Zelina was not on this week. She was there last week. I don't know why you're not doing like much with Zelina. You made her champion out of nowhere. You had her beat Chelsea Green like 3 times, and like she had a tag match last week with returning Alexa Bliss, and then she's not there on this week. The only way that Zelina can get over is by having matches. That's the way she got over in 2023, because first she was associated with the LWO, because at that time it just got formed and it was very hot, because involvement of Bad Bunny, the Rey Mysterio Dominic storyline. You didn't capitalize on her getting over then, and then you are giving her a championship now when she's not over at all. The only way that you can have her get over with the fans is have her defend her title every week, or like bi-weekly at least. Otherwise I don't see how you get Zelina over. You had the women's Money in the Bank qualifier match, which was Michin versus Bliss uh, versus Chelsea Green, and the Secret Hervis was banned from ringside along with BFAB, and this match was fine. In the end, they really protected Michin, because Alexa sent Michin outside, gave the Sister Abigail to Chelsea Green, and won the match. After the match, Bliss confronted Charlotte of all people and said that you took me under your wing in NXT and everything. Charlotte's response was very funny, like, I don't remember that. I was like, what? And then surprised that, because she wanted to talk to Nick Aldis about the Money in the Bank qualifiers, Julia is on SmackDown. So Julia has joined SmackDown. I think this is good for her career wise, because also you saw that Julia works much better as a heel, because the way that her move set, even when she joined NXT, people used to say her move set is very heel coded. Like, she has a lot of knees, a lot of like strikes in her moveset, which generally belongs to heels, and also like she really doesn't have the command over English. Also, her looks, her expressions work more as a heel. It's also very easy because she got all the braided look and everything that works better as a heel, and especially like you have seen in WWE, like WWE books Japanese talent, especially women, better as heels than faces. It's probably easier for them to book these talents as heels, because they don't really have to do much for people to dislike them. Just have them come out to like some stereotypical Japanese, like mix it with some trap, and then have them like squall at the camera, and that's it. But I think the only problem that I have is that they had that Roxanne and Julia having a temporary alliance. They attacked Rhea and Io for weeks. They didn't win any match. In the end, they lost to them at Raw. They broke their temporary alliance backstage, which was on the web, not even on the show. So the perception that goes to the general audience is that these are like two upstarts who came from NXT, who just got their asses beat every week, who broke up and now they are on separate brands. It kind of looks like they don't really have an idea what to do with her. They put her on Smackdown because they saw that, probably this is where that we can use her better. Roxanne is gonna be on Raw. I don't know what do you do with Roxanne. I think Roxanne probably would have been best served if she came on the main roster like before WrestleMania. Like they were setting up things between her and Bailey, but then they just scrapped that, and Roxanne was in the abyss for like weeks. Then she had a pre-show match at Stand and Deliver. Then she faced, I think, Stephanie Vaquer some weeks ago, and that's it. I don't know how you get Roxanne. I think probably she's gonna get into the scheme of things through like a Money in the Bank qualifier. She's probably gonna be in the Money in the Bank, but they need to figure out what to do with her. I think probably the goal is to get her into the IC title picture. But how are you gonna still have Becky go after the IC championship, because she like beat up Lyra after the match? So, and all obviously Becky is going to be involved with Bailey because Bailey is eventually going to come back. So what do you do with that? Because I think the Becky Bailey feud will eventually, whenever it happens, it will involve Lyra in some capacity also. Io and Rhea are busy in the women's championship division. You do need more players there, because I think I don't want to see Rhea winning the title so soon again. You need people for Io to beat, because eventually Rhea is going to win the championship, probably at SummerSlam. She's probably going to win the championship, and we are going to get Rhea versus Bianca probably next year at Mania, which I think was planned for this year. I think Rhea versus Bianca was planned this year for this Mania, but they changed the plans and gave the title to Io Sky, which is good because she has proved herself. Let's see what happens there. Like Julia's, I think main goal should be like eventually to win the Women's United States Championship. The thing that I like about what they have done with the SmackDown Women's Championship division is that they immediately put Jade Cargill and Naomi into the SmackDown Women's Championship picture. Like it was a natural progression, but it actually like they capitalized when the iron was hot, as you say, because Jade and Naomi were clearly having the like the best women's feud going into Mania, and probably one of the best builds going into Mania, because Mania didn't have that many good builds, but Naomi and Jade were actually like one of the better builds going into Mania. Like Jade won, Naomi has a very like hot, like very like over character with the crowd. Jade, after winning that match, like she is getting cheers from the crowd. Even like last week when she had her match with Nia, she looked comfortable in the ring. She didn't look sloppy at all. Like putting her directly into the women's championship division doesn't feel like she doesn't belong there. It feels like she does belong there. And then having Nia Jax come back also, people were really cross about it, but I was like, it's fine, because they'd never really finished their business. Like Tiffany like pinned Nia in a tag match before Mania, but she didn't pin her one-on-one. So it kind of like made sense, and it was a pretty like good first feud after Charlotte for Tiffany, and they showed it this week. You had Naomi acting as a creep throughout the night, like she was like lurking behind where Nia, and in some segments where Tiffany and Jade were talking to each other, she was just lurking behind them. Like the main event was really good. Like Nia got busted hard open because she tried to use a chair. Tiffany kicked that chair so hard in her face that she immediately started bleeding, because you saw like Tiffany hit the PMS, and then after she won the match, Nia immediately went outside the ring to get checked by the EMTs, because she was she was bleeding. Like it didn't even took like it took like 1 second, and she was like bleeding all over her face. But they had a really good match. Like when she hit that annihilator, I thought that the match was over. I really thought Nia won the match, but the rope break at the last moment was really good. I'm really liking this Tiffany Reign because she did need something after the WrestleMania match. People didn't like her match with Charlotte. I actually liked it. I just think that the whole Tiffany Charlotte feud was such a mess from the start because they wanted to like first book Charlotte as a face, but then they quickly pivoted because Charlotte herself pivoted because the fans started booing her. They started to show Tiffany as a underdog baby face, which Tiffany wasn't. Like it didn't fit her character. I think now they have the perfect balance where you have the bitchy Tiffy time and everything, but she's a baby face also at the same time. You can say that she's fighting like an underdog, but it doesn't feel cringe. It does, like when Stone Cold used to fight as an underdog. He didn't used to fight like a wimpy, like I fight like everyone is against him and everything. He acted like a badass. Like Tiffy has her own way of being an underdog babyface. So I think they have got the perfect balance in her character as a babyface. I do hope that in future feuds they really like give more depth to her character, because right now it just feels like she's not the main character in this feud. It's Naomi and Jade. Like it feels like Tiffany and Nia are just like spinning the wheels until we like fully get Naomi and Jade involved in this and probably have Naomi take the title. I do think Naomi is probably going to win the Money in the Bank, and she should, because and WWE kind of leaked that because they started selling caution briefcases, briefcases with the sticker of caution, which is like Naomi's new catchphrase on their on WWEshop.com. So it kind of feels like she's gonna win that match, and she should, because the thing is, Jade is gonna win her feud against Naomi, and it makes sense. Naomi can win probably another match because they have had only one match, but in the end, Jade is going to win the feud, and it would help for Naomi to have a Money in the Bank briefcase with her so that she doesn't really lose her steam, her momentum going forward. Because I do think eventually maybe they can do a Naomi versus Jade again at Mania, like repeat it in a row, have Jade take the title off Naomi. I do think they are planning something with Jade and Charlotte because they've teased it a lot. They teased it last year when Jade first came into WWE. They teased it last week also. But I do think Charlotte is probably going to is getting involved with Alexa Bliss in like a odd couple storyline, which they're going to do like a frenemy stuff, trying to get because what they're doing is that Charlotte, after losing the title, has kind of like lost her mind essentially, because she still feels like she's at the top, but she isn't anymore. And we're probably going to see it next week because she's going to lose that Money in the Bank qualifier, and then maybe they're going to go on a tag run where you'll have Charlotte dropping her egotistical ways, maybe get a little bit funny with Alexa, finally get over as a babyface eventually. These are the type of storylines that the writers write when they don't have stuff for like two people that they particularly want to put on TV, or they hold them in high regards, but they don't have anything for them. And it kind of makes sense because there were reports that Alexa Bliss was going to come back as the leader of the Wyatt Six, but I don't know, Triple H doesn't like them. Bo had an injury, but he recovered. I think they're gonna get released. I don't know what they're doing with them. They lost to the Final Testament, and it's been a while since they've been on TV. So I think that's what's gonna happen with that. I won't mind like Naomi winning the championship from Tiffany. Tiffany then can get drafted to Raw. I think she'll do well in the Raw Women's title picture. Like you need fresh blood there anyways, and she has done all that she can on SmackDown. Like she has been a SmackDown girl since she has been on the main roster. Like a fresh change of scenery doesn't hurt anyone. You can have Naomi and Jade run it back at Mania also. Also, the thing is, I hope with Fraxium they really give them more mic time, because the reason that they got so over in NXT was not only because of their like insane in-ring prowess, it is also because of the chemistry between Axiom and Nathan Fraser. Like, you know, Axiom being kind of like the more like practical, logical guy, Fraser kind of being like the more like, happy go lucky type of like picking up fights with anyone, being funny with anyone, like them playing PlayStation with each other, like them always having like, will they betray each other or not, like they love to hate each other, always having that kind of like simmering tensions, but they never turn on each other. I think that is what that will get people to love them, because they the people are giving them reactions in their matches. Like every one of the match that they have had since coming on the main roster has gotten "this is awesome" chants. Like Nathan Fraser's hot tag where he like runs, like his speed is so high, like people are like reacting to them. I do think like WWE needs to put more like depth in the storylines and give more promo time to their tag teams, like they did last week. They need to do it more. Like the reason why Motor City has not gotten that much over is because they have not really got any time to like show the people who they are as people or as characters. So I do think they need to put in more effort in, regarding that. Apart from that, you had Alistair Black versus Carmelo Hayes. Only thing I don't like is that you they brought Alistair Black, they put him in a feud against Carmelo Hayes because they don't have anyone else to put him in a feud against. They put Carmelo Hayes in a feud with him because they don't have anyone else to feud with Carmelo Hayes. It is kind of like the thing that they did with Carmelo Hayes and Andrade last year. Like Carmelo and Andrade like literally carried SmackDown on their backs, through their best of 7 series. And you saw like they were paired together because they didn't really have anything else for them. The thing is, I don't dislike this. I don't dislike the Miz pairing with Carmel. Like people hate it, but I don't, because Miz is a person who will always be relevant in WWE. Like he has done this storyline, I don't know how many times, where he takes someone under his mentorship, does cringy stuff with them. Eventually, the person turns face. Betrayal happens, feud happens, and then they move on. Because this can this can be the thing that finally gets Carmelo Hayes like a major push, like get him into like the mid card or the upper mid card. And you can see that since he has won the Andre Giant Memorial Battle Royal, they have been trying to keep him like safe in defeats. Like he lost last week to Alistair Black, but he lost by a roll up. This week Alistair Black won, but he won because Miz interfered and attacked him. And after the match, Carmelo laid out Alistair Black. It's just that Alistair Black is over with the crowd because of his entrance, because of the stuff that he does in the ring. Like even without saying much, like Alistair Black has shown in the ring, through his moves, through his expressions, through the things that he does and his entrance. And kudos to WWE for the presentation, especially for the way that when he goes towards the barricade and then the name pops up on the LED screen. That's a really nice touch. That Alistair Black, after getting reintroduced, is over with the crowd also. But what is the end goal here? Like this ends with Alistair Black getting a clean victory over Carmelo Hayes. But then what do you do with Carmelo Hayes? Because that's what happened last year. Like Andrade and Carmelo Hayes like got themselves over through their best of 7 series, but in the end they just used that for a LA Knight US title defense. Their 7th match ended in a double disqualification. LA Knight won the triple threat at Crown Jewel, and both of them literally went into the abyss after. Like Andrade is just doing stuff with Phoenix now, so you can probably like see them going up against Los Garzas and everything, because you're trying to like they're gonna break up Legado del Fantasma. Like this is probably one of the last weeks that Legado del Fantasma are getting TV time, because Smackdown is gonna go back to 2 hours in June. I think in the first week, and probably I think Humberto is gonna be a singles talent again, and we have always seen that Humberto had the talent. Like in ring, he had the talent. It's just that he didn't have a character. I think since he has turned heel, he has shown that he can play the role of a typical heel. I just don't know what he can do as a babyface, because if they turn on him, they're gonna have him as a babyface. Let's see what they do with that. And next week they have Shinsuke versus LA versus I think Alistair in a Money in the Bank qualifier match. First, why is Shinsuke and LA in a Money in the Bank qualifier? They both lost. Alistair Black makes sense. I think LA is going to win by beating Shinsuke, because I think Carmelo is probably going to interfere next week, because they put Solo in the Money in the Bank ladder match. So LA kind of makes sense for him to be there. I don't think LA is winning the Money in the Bank ladder match. I think that ship has sailed. Not because I don't think he's over. Like, he's clearly over. I just don't think WWE thinks of him in that way. Also, apart from that, yeah, I think that's all that happened on SmackDown. It was a good show, like a 3.5 out of 5 show. I will give this show, and I'm just glad that it is eventually going to go into 2 hours in just a few weeks. And I think because you could see that after WWE put SmackDown on USA, Triple H really figured out the format of how to book a 2 hour SmackDown. And SmackDown was it was not like awesome every week, but it was never bad. It was a 3.5, sometimes 4 out of 5 week every week. And since 3 hours, I think they stopped caring after it went 3 hours. First, because 3 hours is very difficult to book. Second, because Raw is on Netflix and they're focusing on that. You can see, I don't think Triple H really even like oversees booking that much on SmackDown. Like, people said that Road Dogg is primarily taking care, but I think that's kind of like a cop out, so that Triple H doesn't get any criticism, because at the end he is the head of creative. He is the head booker. Like, things have to get signed by him at the end of the day. So if anything bad happens, it did get signed by him. Overall, I think things moved. Like, they moved. I just have questions. I think I forgot about one thing. Like, Drew and Damian. Like, Damian had a good promo. They're having a steel cage match at Saturday night's main event. Their feud has been going on for a while, if you see, because they started interacting with each other, like, even before the Rumble. Like, Priest eliminated McIntyre at the Rumble. You can say their feud officially kind of started there, but even before that, they were like taking pot shots at each other in the build to the Rumble. The thing is, like, WWE has not really like shown it. Like, why is Damian still after Drew? Because Drew beat him clean at Mania. So it kind of like it is confusing, because Damian is the babyface and Drew beat him clean, but he's still going after him. The commentators have mentioned it. Like, the reason why Damian is going after Drew is because after Drew won the match, he gloated a lot. He essentially like brought up his family, that I beat you in front of your family and everything. And for that reason, he's still going after Drew. But I think you need to like bring that fact up in promos. Like, I don't think a throwaway line by a commentator is enough, because it confuses the hell out of people. Because why is the babyface who lost pretty clean at WrestleMania is still going after a heel, which clearly moved on from him after Mania? The thing with I like Damian's video package. He said that the only way like they're gonna identify Drew is through his dental records, which essentially means he wants to kill Drew McIntyre at Saturday night's main event. the steel cage match is going to be good. Like, this is the second match, so people saying that the feud ends here, like, why? Like, they've just had one match. You can say the feud has been going on for a while, but I think Drew kind of needs a, like, Damien kind of needs a win. I think Damien is probably going to win by escaping the cage, and I think after the match, because what Drew said in his promo, like, he really sold that, he got put through a table. Yeah, like this promo was really like, Drew really like projecting, because the things that he said that Damien is doing towards him is the things that he used to do towards CM Punk. Like he said that Damien is obsessed with him, that he's not letting go of him, that even after he's beaten him, he's still, in his sort of vortex, that you are only relevant because of him. The same thing that he did with CM Punk, the same thing CM Punk told him, that only way Drew is getting relevant is because he's fighting me. Even after I have defeated him, he's still going after me. So I like how they have like brought this back up, that Drew is like facing the karma of his own actions, of him being so obsessed with CM Punk. Now you have someone who is like equally obsessed with him. And I think the line that he said at the end is going to be relevant, because he said that the only way it ends at Saturday Night's main event is that one of us is going to go out on a stretcher out of the arena. So what is probably going to happen is Damien is going to win by escaping the cage, uh, but Drew is going to lay him out after the match, and Damien leaves on a stretcher. And I think this is probably going to lead to one more match, either at Money in the Bank or at Night of Champions, where they will finally end this, and I think Drew will win. I hope whenever that happens, Aleister Black interferes and that leads to Drew winning, because this is going to end eventually, this Aleister Black Carmelo Hayes feud. You need to give Aleister Black, you need to like bring up the level of the opponents that he's going after, and I think Damien is the perfect foil for Aleister to go after, because you can kind of bring things that Damien was kind of like what Aleister was for Triple H. Like, Damien to Vince was what Aleister was to Triple H. Like, even like Damien has been liked by both Vince and Triple H. Both have like pushed him as kind of like first that dark kind of guy, then him being in the Judgment Day, him being goofy, but then him being like a serious face and heel. Like, Aleister Black can attack him out of jealousy also. Like, this was what he was supposed to be in the WWE, and that way you can, move stuff in that direction. And eventually, when Cody Rhodes return, I think Cody versus Drew can be a good feud for SummerSlam. Like, Cody's probably gonna return, maybe at Money in the Bank, maybe at Night of Champions. And I think a Drew versus Cody feud immediately after Drew versus Damien feud, I think is good for Drew, because you need to give Drew something more to do, because we thought that he got the momentum at Mania, he beat Damien, like finally you are, reheating him up, getting him on the right direction after, abruptly ending his feud with Roman. But they need to do stuff with him. I just don't see him winning a title apart from like the US title, like they had the whole like see off that they had when Drew was leaving. Solo was coming for his match between him and Solo, him and Jacob. Maybe you're gonna get that in the future, because all of the other title scenes, I think the storylines related to them have already been written. So I don't know what do you give Drew, but you need to give him something solid, and you need to have him win. So let's see what happens next with that. So that was my video. If you like this type of content, like this video, share and subscribe. If you don't, then share it with those who do. My social media accounts are in the description, so go follow me on that. My UPI ID link, which is sappo@okicici, is in the description, so go follow me on that. So that was it for me for today. So thank you, goodbye, alvida.